The carnivore diet is everywhere at the moment. We see people like the Liver King, Jordan Peterson, and even his daughter Michaela Peterson advocating for it. They say they feel fantastic on the diet.
I was always on the border of an anaphylactic reaction. I couldn't relax at all.
That's an immunological response.
Allergic response, yeah. But this diet seems to have stopped all of that.
The more I cut out to going to just meat, the better I got.
And the weight loss results speak louder than any words can. Let's dive into it and see what the science has to say.
There's a list of reasons why we recommend carnivore.
What do you crave for on the carnivore diet?
Keep it simple, just eat meat.
And so, see, all of us were born as lions.
Okay.
I don't think there are any risks to eating animal foods exclusively.
Welcome back to our Diet Deep Dive series. Last week, we looked into veganism. We discovered some very good insight on how the body responds to an all-plant diet. And today, we are deep diving once again into another very popular diet, the carnivore diet. You must know these videos are completely unbiased. All we do is discuss the facts research have found and explore both the good and the bad sides thereof. The body is beautifully complex and there's no one-size-fits-all diet. I hope these videos help you discover the exact diet that works for you. So, the carnivore diet. Is it a good idea or not? Turns out from all the research we could gather, it's more of a good idea than a bad idea. However, it's very dependent on your genetics. How am I supposed to know what my genetics are? Luckily, you don't have to get your genome decoded. This is more a does your stomach pain after drinking milk or not type of genetic difference. Let's first look at plants. It is a fact that plants do not want to be eaten. They even have a built-in mechanism that will release defensive compounds when they get eaten, hoping to drive you away and preventing itself from getting eaten in the future. It turns out that according to lead researchers, some people are genetically predisposed to reacting worse to plant chemicals than others. Think of chilies, for example. Some people eat them by the dozen and others can barely handle them. These chemicals, also known as phytotoxins, for many people can cause extreme gut discomfort without even knowing it's the plants doing that. Think of kale, for example. It has insane nutritional value. I mean, look at this table. But if you have any sort of intestinal wall damage, the negatives might start outweighing the positives. The cell wall can't keep its defenses up if it's damaged, and the phytotoxins, which for people with normal digestive linings would not be an issue at all, well, those phytotoxins can now break through, which will cause inflammatory responses and a bunch of other physiological triggers, which ultimately lead to gut discomfort. It's pretty interesting, hey? So the people advocating for the carnivore diet is onto something. They might be, but meat contains absolutely no vitamins, right? Meaning that without vitamins like vitamin C, if you don't consume any vegetables or fruit, you can develop scurvy, that illness that sailors got, which like with the inflamed gums and the depressed immune systems and things. 100 grams of apples contain 7 milligrams of vitamin C. 100 grams of beef liver contains 27 milligrams of vitamin C. So now we ask ourselves the question, if meat contains vitamins and proteins and fats, and it doesn't release defensive chemicals trying to destroy our gut linings, what are the bad parts of the carnivore diet? While doing research on this, I came across a very interesting map of the world. These are the places in the world where you find the oldest humans. These places all have one thing in common. They do not consume high amounts of red meat. It's interesting, right? Maybe that should tell us something. Maybe that something is that there isn't many animals around to eat. Well, they didn't eat lots of red meat and they got very old. So let's look into meat. There is a very interesting molecule called new 5GC found in red meat. Not chicken, red meat only. Research showed that this molecule damages arterial walls, and it does so by triggering an autoimmune response, meaning the body literally starts to fight itself. And in my opinion, an even worse part of this molecule is that cancer cells can coat themselves in this new 5GC molecule to hide from the immune system, so our bodies can't destroy them. It's crazy, right? Now, our bodies cannot produce new 5GC. It can only enter the system through eating red meat. Well, it's simple then. Just eat fish and chicken. Not so fast. Fun fact, some chicken isn't safe either. Really now? Researchers found that chicken meat contains lectin, which is one of the defensive molecules found in plants. And it's because some chickens eat lots of plant sources containing lectin. You've heard the saying, you are what you eat. Well, this is literally the embodiment of that saying. So it turns out even meat has its downfalls. With chicken, a workaround for this lectin situation is to simply find pasteurized chickens which haven't been feeding on plants containing lectin. But it's a lot of effort, and most grocery stores won't even know whether the chicken they're selling ate lectin or not. Two of the biggest concerns with a meat-only diet is 1, gut bacteria, and 2, high heart-damaging levels of cholesterol. You see, we humans need carbs. A no-carb diet isn't healthy. Certain bacteria in your gut that helps you digest food optimally rely on soluble fiber that comes from carbs as food. If they do not get fed, you end up with excess gas buildup, dysfunctional bowel movements, and poor nutrition absorption. And the only energy source for your brain is glucose that comes from carbs. Now, your body can make glucose from proteins and fats, but it's a completely different process. It's very complicated, and the body isn't optimized as it is for using carbs as fuel. So you need a bit of carbs. Yes, but just a bit. Most research says 60 to 80 grams per day is enough, depending on how hard you exercise and etc. But this doesn't mean eat sugar and white bread and all those junk carbs. This means get the good complex carbs into your system, like rye bread and sweet potatoes. What about cholesterol? I'm getting to it. It's been a long video. If you're still watching, man, I know that you are looking for the answer, and I know that your health is important to you. Keep up searching. The right answer for your body is out there. And feel free to click the subscribe button below. The rest of this diet deep dive series is going to be very interesting. You, specifically you, still watching this video, I'm sure you're going to want to see it. Cholesterol, and a summary of what you just said, please. Cholesterol forms part of what we call bad fats. Bad fats are animal fats. They come from things like milk and butter and that little crispy piece on the side of your steak. Now, what makes these fats renownedly bad is that if there's too much of it in your blood, the fat will pack onto the inner cell walls of your arteries, clogging them up and leading to things like heart attacks and strokes. It's also one of the leading causes for high blood pressure. Now, a good fat is a plant fat. We call them good fats because they can actually take those fatty deposits on the inner lining of the arteries off of the arteries. However, take note that bad fats will only latch onto the artery walls when there is high levels of animal fats present and the walls have been damaged. And that'll only really happen when you consume too much sugars and you have high blood pressure and a lot of genetic predispositions. So the sugars will cause chronically inflamed systems, and those will then eventually damage the protective inner lining. I'm sure, as you can see, nutrition is pretty complicated, and it's not always as straightforward as saying vegan diets are best or carnivore diets reign king. From all the research I've done and all the clients I've helped lose weight, I can say one thing. A diet that contains a variety will always be the best. Certain people are intolerant to certain foods and others not. You have to dig deep and do the research to find what works for you. I'm really confused. Do I eat plants or not? Is meat bad or not? What is this world even? Meats in moderation. Clean meats, a variety of vegetables and fruits selected based on your genetic makeup, and a bit of carbs, but not junk carbs, good, healthy, complex carbs. Good luck on your mission, and I hope to see you in the next Diet Deep Dive episode. The subscription button is below. Cheers. Blah, 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 blah.